Welcome in, everybody. How are we all doing today? I apologize about all our normal stuff that we go through at the beginning of these broadcasts. However, I am running very, very late today. I'm very behind. I was running errands this morning and got hung up in tourist traffic where I live. And lo and behold, I am live 25 minutes later than I intended to be today. So we do not have time to go through everything that we normally go through at the beginning of the race here today, but this series isn't quite as tight for that championship fight as we saw from our Audi TT Cup series last weekend here either. So with that being said, we do already have a determined champion here in this series, and it is Ten Tenths Subi Mark to walk away with the top spot here in the series. Today is really just a formality here for him. However, with that being said, the rest of our field does have something to be fighting for here still as well. So there is still a dogfight between Petrolhead, Hair Raiser, and Doug Barrow for the other two top spots on the podium here at the end of the season. And as soon as I get settled in here, we will go over some of this stuff here through the broadcast. It's a 90-minute race here today, and it looks like we're going to see a red flag. We are going to see a red flag. All right. So that gives us a chance to talk a little bit about what we got going on here today. So we'll bring up the event settings on the screen so you guys can see what's going on. It is going to be a 15 lap race here today, which is what works out to about 90 minutes around the Nordschleife. It's a grid start with a false start check. We are basing our grid standings off the championship point standings here as well today. 3 times tire and 3 times fuel as always. And it looks like it's the hard and medium tires required here today as well. So I wasn't sure. That was the one thing I wasn't sure about, is whether or not we were going to see the soft tire allowed to be used here at the Nordschleife today or not, but that is not the case. It will be the racing hard and the racing medium tire here today. So it's going to be a red flag due to the fact that we had a driver stuck on the grid. I believe that was Mike 1972 in third place. Was hung up on the grid there, so you could see there was a little bit of contact in behind, and of course race control calling that down right away. That is the right call. That is a part of our red flag procedure here at the GTRC, so that was a great call there by our race control officials. And I haven't had a chance to monitor and check everything on the stream here today, so if something doesn't seem right or sounds wrong or looks off, please do let me know, and we'll try to correct it for you as quickly as possible. We have the internet company coming in after our broadcast here today, actually, to sort out the internet faux pas we're dealing with right now since we've moved our setup. So we will be back in action and to normal business next week. And with that being said, that means a lot more content coming back from GT45 Gaming here too. You know, we've got everything kind of sorted out here. We still don't have the new PC yet. We're not quite there yet. We haven't met the goal of what we need for that yet. So we're still sitting on that fundraiser there, but we're at about $1,200 towards the new PC. I need roughly around $2,000 all said and done. So we're getting there. We're getting close, and hopefully we'll have that wrapped up here in the next 30 days and have that PC ordered and en route. Alright, we're going to try this again, and this time we're going to get... See, the problem was we didn't get the catchphrase out, right? So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, kick them tires, light them fires. We're going Nordschleife racing. And we are green, 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 and I believe it is going to be set based on the order of our championship point standings here today. So everybody's just coming through here in single file. Looks like in the position they started in here today. And we've got 13 of our 15 car grid filled up here at the Nordschleife today. The bigger question is, do we still finish with 13 drivers at the end of our run at Nordschleife today? and that is the big key here today. It's going to be 15 laps around this track. It's about a 7-minute lap, 7.5-minute lap. It's a Nordschleife layout, pardon me, about 6.5-minute lap to 7-minute lap between for these cars, and that is why we're going to see about 15 laps. Now, the reason why we don't have a timer on today is because obviously with it being a almost 7-minute lap around the racetrack, our timer only allows us to go 3 minutes past the available time limit here in the game, so obviously that's not going to work for the drivers to get all the way around, so we've got this down to a lap counter, and it's 15 laps determined here today. I do apologize, I don't like being rushed. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'll get into the rhythm here. We got a lot of racing to go here today, and the podium interviews are going to be kept relatively short here today, too. Again, I have the internet company coming in right after the broadcast here today, so there's not a lot of wiggle room for time here, and I'm already late to start with, so tight schedule today, but it is Hair Razor here in third place. So it is Subi Marco Championship winner here today. Petrolhead is second overall in the standings. We've got Hair Razor here in the third position. We've got Mike 1972 in fourth. We've got Par 27 up into fifth place. Supra going deep, and he is there with Hair Razor and Subi Mark as well. And oh boy, we have ourselves oh, that was not Subi Mark. Who was that? Oh, wait a minute. Bar 27 we've seen stricken on the side of the track there, not Subi Mark, so my apologies on that. But we got Supra here in 6th after his off. We've got Type R up in the 7th. Bart comes back out in 8th position here. We've got Egon in 9th place. We've got TDC here in 10th position. We've got Hair Razor now down into P11 here, and we've got Iron Knight here, oof, going for a ride into the wall there as well, and we got Tap here in 13th position. So the Nordschleife is definitely going to separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls here. This is not an easy racetrack. It has 97 left and right hand corners, ladies and gentlemen. There is a lot to remember here on this racetrack. It is non-stop left and right hand corners. It has very, very high speed sectors with very low speed sectors and very technical sections of corners. And as you can see, there's not a lot of runoff room around this racetrack either. You have a short little stint of grass, and then you've got the barrier. So when the drivers get it wrong at the Nordschleife here, it is usually, in the eyes of the fans, very, very dramatic crashes here at the Nordschleife. They usually result in very wrecked race cars, and sometimes potential injury for the racers. Is potentially one of the hardest racetracks worldwide as far as GT circuit racing goes, and is not for the faint of heart. And as we head into the carousel here for the first time of 15 attempts here today, it is still Subi Mark in the lead. We've got Petrolhead here in the second place, and Mike 1972 is tucked right in behind here. So this is difficult racing here. You can pass on the Nordschleife. There's plenty of places on the racetrack where you can make a pass. You can see the track is easily wide enough for two cars to go side by side. However, with that being said, it is a difficult racetrack to make that pass because the track is constantly moving. It is always in a left or a right hand direction. There's very few straight line runs on this racetrack, and it has to be a very decisive move when you are going to make that pass here to Nordschleife, and you've got to try to get that complete very, very quickly. You can see Petrolhead getting it wrong there. Now Mike 1972 is going to try and take advantage of that mistake. We got a little bit of lag there in the lobby, but everybody managed it okay. We got Doug closing in here in fourth place now in behind these two as well. So patient driving right now here on the Nordschleife. We got Diafold in fifth place. We got Supra up into sixth. We got Bar here in seventh with Type R just in behind here now in eighth place. We got Egon in ninth position, 4 seconds in behind, and he has the posse in behind him here with TDC Gaming and Hair Razor now trying to make a lot of track back up here as he's going to go on the outside of TDC Gaming here. He's going to get a good run up in through the S's here, but again, you have to pick and choose where you're going to make your passes here at the Nordschleife, and it's not easy to do. And Egon down into 11th place, so Egon has made a mistake here somewhere. He's gone off the racetrack and he has dropped off to the back of the field here as well. So difficult racing conditions here today at the Nordschleife, and Hair Razor is all over the back end of this 2008 Epson NSX here as well. So old technology versus new technology here right now on the racetrack. And oh, TDC Gaming just getting it a little bit wrong there. Hair Razor is now going to go ahead and take 9th place away from him there, and we're going to see a lot of that here today. We're going to see these little mistakes made by the drivers, and it's going to cost the drivers time. You see TDC Gaming just going on the high side of carousel there after that collision with the barrier there to allow the hot lap traffic at speed to take the carousel line, the racing line there, and not interfere with the race. That was a great recognition there by TDC as well. They're in 11th place. We got Tap in 12th, and Egon's just off the back of the pack here as we head up. I can't remember the name of this back corner here, the back straight here, but it's the longest high-speed run on the racetrack. The guys will top these cars out for a little while and have to come into a fairly third gear braking zone in these cars. So, you know, somewhere around that 80 to 90 mile an hour point, but then they got to navigate a very tight set of S's and a chicane right at the end of the lap. And we'll try to get to a driver that's just getting to that point there. There we go. We got Iron Ice, so you come off that big, long, I believe it's a Hasselbeck straight, they call that. And then you got to come in through a set of S's, and instead of going straight like we see on the 24-hour circuit to hit the Nurburgring GP circuit, we've hooked that hard right-hand corner to go right straight back onto the Nordschleife track again. And lap number 2 here is underway, ladies and gentlemen. So lots going on here on this racetrack here today. And I mean, the Nordschleife is no joke. Very difficult racetrack. Subi Mark here has 8.5 second lead over Dugborough right now, who's now gotten ahead of Petrolhead and Mike 1972. So Petrolhead here in 3rd place. He's still got Mike just sitting in behind right now. Now Mike, this is again, he's a strategic driver. He has been all season long, and he battles when he feels he needs to, and he just sits in behind when he recognizes a good pace driver in front of him, and that allows him to help save his race car. Now, he did get wide into the corner there, into the sand, and he is going to lose 2 spots there. He's going to move down into 6th place as Supra and Dialful Racing get around him there. And it seems like every time we're watching a driver here today, we have a huge incident. And there's Bar 27, speaking of, with the best wreck of the day here so far at the Nordschleife. And just hooks that curb, and it just unsettles his car. And it's 3-4. He gets tagged a little bit there on the way through. He's going to do 6 360 spins as he tries to get himself sorted back out on the racetrack there. He's going to have all kinds of damage on that racing car here. And you can see some dirty tires there, and he is in struggle mode here right now as he's now trying not to come squirting out into the racetrack there. He just gets his car out safe and sound, just keeps it out of hot lap traffic there, and that's going to drop him down into 11th place. But 11th place with some style points right there, the 6 360 spins there, and with that mistake from Bar 27, that was a tough one there. So this Subi Mark here in the lead, and every driver is going to have their struggles with this racetrack here today. We got Doug in 2nd place. We've got Petrolhead here in 3rd position. We got Dialful Racing here in 4th place. We got Supra in 5th place. We've got Mike 1972 here in 6th place. We got Hair Razor in 7th. We got Type R in 8th. We've got Iron Knight in 9th place. We've got Tap in 10th. We've got Bar down into 11th after that mistake he made on the racetrack. We've got TDC Gaming here in 12th. And we've got Egon Rock and Rolling here in 13th position. So anybody's race today. Subi Mark clearly moving and grooving here right now around the Nordschleife. That doesn't mean anything. There is still 13 more times these drivers are going to have to go around this racetrack, and that is 97 corners to make a mistake on for 13 more times. I mean, that's well over 1,200 corners remaining for these drivers still in this race today, and very easy to lose your concentration, lose your focus for a moment, make a mistake, miscalculate, wind direction change. Maybe the track, as you can see, is getting quite nice out right now in Germany. The track conditions, the temperature of the track is going to make a difference here as well. And the Nordschleife goes, I believe, through 8 different towns here where the track is built in Germany as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be a little bit off on that number, and if somebody has that accurate number and wants to correct me, please feel free to, of course. We always like to have the right information, but I believe it goes through 8 different towns here in Germany as well, this racetrack. So, and a lot of the racing teams that race at the Nordschleife on a year-to-year basis are set up shop all around these towns or these cities that are located in and around the different areas of the Nordschleife racetrack as well. So with that being said, Lots of racing history right here at the Nordschleife, that's for sure. Alright, so Subimark, 9 seconds up the road from Doug Burrow here right now, and Doug Burrow's got a little bit of a slightly different paint scheme on his car for the finale here, it looks like today. Very subtle changes, but definitely looks a little different. Got Petrolhead here in 3rd position. We got Dialful Racing here in 4th place as well. He's having a good run here so far today, and he's only 1.8 seconds off the back of Petrolhead there. And you can see Subimark with fast lap of 6 minutes and 12 seconds. So I speculated 6.5 to 7 minutes is more along the lines of 6 to 6.5 minutes a lap here. So it is Supra here in 5th position. We've got Mike 1972 here in 6th place. We've got Hair Razor in 7th position. We've got Tap here in 8th position as well. We've got Type R and Iron Knight battling it out here for 9th and 10th place, and we're going to stick with this. There was a little bit of lag there. I think there was a little touch between the two, but there's a little bit of lag also involved in that exchange between the two there. There was a little bit of smoke from the contact there, which is typical of a bump. Ooh, an Iron Knight there just went to go into some clean air there and just overshot the corner there a little bit. He kept himself out of the barrier there, which was a great job there by Iron Knight, but it's going to cost him a couple of car lengths here on Type R as we head down in, I believe, towards the carousel here. That's the mini carousel as we head towards our long, I believe, Hasselbeck Straight they call this. I believe. I have track maps for this. It's just, again, we're running late today, so I'm not nowhere near prepared as I would normally be. And Iron Knight again flirting with disaster there on the track edge, but again, just trying to keep clean air in that race car and obviously not make contact with Type R while he's trying to battle with him there as well. And I mean, the gap is still only a second. You can see Tap is just up ahead, 7 seconds up the road there, but the straight is so long that you can see that car for a good 12-second gap up ahead of you when you come out onto that straight. So it is Subimark here, and he's now on a lap number 3, and right now we're going to see about 6 laps of fuel, looks like here, from these cars, maybe 5 depending on the driver. But it is Doug here in 2nd, and Petrol is starting to track back in a little bit here on Doug Burrow as well in 2nd place here. So Petrolhead was very hard battling with Subimark for this championship all season long, and unfortunately for him, he just fell off that battle a little bit, and Subimark was able to really capitalize last week and get the points he needed just to secure the championship here today. So he still had to make it. He still had to come to the track, and he still has to finish this race, and I believe he's going to have to finish, I think, 10 or 11 spots ahead of Petrolhead. And with only 13 drivers on the track, it's pretty much a gimme at this point, but it's not. So it can still be technically lost, but the probabilities of that are, well, with the Nordschleife, maybe 25%. Subimark has been pretty well in control all season long. He's had great pace all season long. He really seems to understand that Honda NSX that he's been driving all season long, and unless something really dramatic happens here for our championship points leader today, and he finishes in dead last place and Petrol wins this race, we're not going to see a change in those standings from 1st to 2nd place either. The real battle here is between these two right now that we're watching, Doug Burrow and Petrolhead. They're only separated by a handful of points, and whichever one of these two drivers ultimately finishes ahead of the other one could potentially change 2nd and 3rd place overall in the podium standings as well. Hair Razor's in that discussion. Mike 1972 is also in this discussion. So there's a few drivers that could take the podium here at the end of the day still today as well. Let's get a little swingy calf. Alright, so on board with a 3rd place driver, and our top 3 are only separated by 3/4 of a second here now. So Subimark had a nice little tidy gap here on the pack, and has obviously made a mistake here at the racetrack that has cost himself about 7 or 8 seconds here on the racetrack, because now Doug and Petrol are very close. to our race later here, so on board with our second place driver here, as you can see. Trying to close in on the Soupy Mark here a little bit, and you can see Petrolhead is right there in the rearview mirror as well, or on his LCD display in this car here, as you can see on the screen. And lots of downforce and a lot of speed in these cars, so it really is a difficult combination here for the drivers today. You don't see too much more than cars past Group 2 here running on the Nordschleife nowadays anymore. I don't think we see the hypercars and the LMP1 prototype cars run here. Obviously, due to some parts of this racetrack, the carousel right there, those cars would not probably be able to take that carousel due to how low to the ground they are. And in all honesty, the Group 2 cars probably most likely can't take that carousel either with the aerodynamics package on these cars, either in real life. So anything above basically Group 3 or its slightly larger, bigger brothers, you don't see them run on the Nordschleife very often in real life. So to have the ability to run Super Formulas, Group 2s, Group 1s, Group C's, and all kinds of different types of cars on the Nordschleife in our virtual world really does make it fantastic, because again, Group 2 and Group 1 cars are not something we see typically on the Nordschleife in real life that I'm aware of anyways. So this is a fun race, and this is a challenging race because of the speed and the torque of these cars and the downforce of these cars. I mean, you can see we're almost at 6-minute laps here from our race leaders here right now around the track as well. So it definitely shortens the racetrack in a sense because of how much faster you are navigating each section of this racetrack in these Group 2 cars. So it's a great little battle happening here between Doug, Mark, and Petrol, and you know, everybody is just kind of into their paces here, and it's the little mistakes that make the difference here at the Nordschleife, and they always do. So our top three separated by a second, and then there's about a 10-second gap to Diaflow Racing, and he's in no man's land right now. Supra here in 5th place, and he is being hassled right now by Mike 1972. So a little tiny tap there, a little touch there between the two, and that was just coming into the braking zone and him letting off just ahead of Supra there. So that's what we saw there. And now we got Hairraiser back up into the equation. So Hairraiser's track back up into P7. His first lap incident, putting him down into the back of the pack, so he has started to track back up through the field. It is important for him. He needs to try and get as close up to that podium fight as he can as well, because, well, he's trying to fight for a top 3 overall here in the season. So, and again, these cars are so equally paced here on this long straightaway. The GTR does have a little bit more top end than these NSXs do, but obviously in the slipstream, the NSX is going to get the free ride. And oh, Mike 1972 tried to make a good pass there up on the inside of Supra, and again, we've seen this happen for the second time now. A car hooked the curb and get all out of sorts here. The curbs are not your friend here. Oh, we just missed it at the Nordschleife. Due to how low these cars are, the curbs are very high at the Nordschleife. They're very, very big curbs, and some curbs can be used to cut corners and not upset these Group 2 cars, but some corners you can see act just like a skateboarding park, and it's just like you're doing a rail ride around it. And unfortunately, when you're doing 100 plus miles an hour, that typically means that you're going to lose the back end of your racing car, or it's going to unsettle your race car, put you sideways, and put you in a very uncomfortable situation very quickly. And we've seen it a couple times already here today, once from Barr and now once from Mike 1972. So the curbs are very risk versus reward here when it comes down to which curbs you're going to try and run and not run here at the Nordschleife. It is very, again, it's just a difficult racetrack. These drivers are having the toughest race of the season here right now today, and we've seen some tough racetracks for these Group 2 guys here this season. We've had Le Mans up on the schedule here today, or this season as well. That was a very difficult race. We've had a couple of races that rain was a potential as well, so it's been a difficult season for these drivers, and they've done a great job. But Diaful Racing here losing touch with that front pack just a little bit, 13 seconds, and Hairraiser now trying to close in on Diaful Racing, and the gap is down to under 5 seconds here. Supra, the only driver tackling the Audi Group 2 car this season here, currently in 6th place, and he's got Mike 1972 tracking back in here now in 7th place, so he's recovered from the incident. The damage model is on light in the series, which means if they do pick up damage on these racing cars, it goes away after a 30-second period, and then the cars go back to quote-unquote optimal racing conditions again. So here we go, battle re-engaged between Mike 1972 and Superboy here, and we'll stick with this for a minute as the battles are few and far between here on the racetrack today, as everybody starts to kind of separate out as the pace of the driver starts to kick in and the mistakes of the driver start to change how this race is shaping up. So it is Mike 1972 here, and 7th place is where he sits right now, and there is a lot of race left yet. We're only on lap 4, and we're already 22 minutes in, almost 22 minutes into this thing, so it just goes to show it how long of a racetrack that the Nordschleife really is. I believe it is a 18? I want to say 18-kilometer layout is Nordschleife layout. I could be a little bit off on that number. I believe the 24-hour layout, all said and done, is like 24 point something kilometers. So we're looking at about 15 miles here per lap today. And there it is. The battle is going to happen this time, and Mike 1972 is going to get a nice move done there on Superboy there. So again, you got to really assess where you're going to make the move. He gets a good run on the Audi there. He goes side by side there. Lots of room given. He has to take the grass just a tiny little bit there, and he didn't need to, but he's, again, just allowing proper room there for each other. Tucks into the racing line, right into the next turning sector there, and manages to keep it ahead of Super for the time being, and very quickly opening up a second gap. So that was 3.3 seconds to Hairraiser up front, who's got it down to 3.7 seconds on Diaful Racing in 4th place. So let's keep going through the field. Here we got Tap. He's in 8th place, and he's got a little bit of distance between himself and the rest of the pack as he enters the carousel here. Got Type R up into 9th place, and he's got about 1.2 seconds over TDC Gaming here right now, who just got a little bit wide there, but recovers it quite nicely. We got Bar 27 here in 11th place, and he's had a tough day on the track here today. A little bit of a spike in the lobby there we see. And has Iron Knight now closing in on him here in 12th place as well, and Egon here in a 13th position, and a half-second track limit penalty there as well. So he's going to carry that penalty for quite some time around the racetrack before he's going to have to serve that. The penalty serving zone at Nordschleife is on that back long run to the final sector of the racetrack. So you come out of the mini carousel, you come through a couple of high-speed corners, and that takes you, I believe, is called the Hasselbeck Straight. And that is about a 2-mile run where these cars are just wide open. And that is what allows some of these drivers to also catch up to each other under the slipstream conditions. So we have Petrolhead has gotten around Dougborough, so Dougborough has made a mistake here somewhere on the racing track as well, and has now dropped about 10 seconds to the first and second place there. So again, it's a battle of the racetrack here today more than it is against the drivers against each other. And we've seen that. We've seen positions lost and gained and time lost and gained from these individual mistakes made by these drivers on the racetrack. You can see Diaful Racing there losing just a little bit of concentration, dipping his tires into the grass on the Hasselbeck here, and that is a dangerous situation. He's very fortunate the car didn't go out from underneath of him there. That would have been a 170-mile-an-hour crash right there, and would have ended up in a very hurt race car, I'm sure. So Mike 1972 is closing in behind here as well, 1.5 seconds, and we are going to start seeing some pit stops happen here. As you can see, the fuel load is getting quite low in our cars here. So Subi Mark is doing pretty good on the fuel. We got Petrolhead coming in. He's got decent amount of fuel there. Doug is also in. Mike is going to continue to go around as well. I was going to put him up into second place. Diaful Racing has come in, so has Hairraiser. Supra is going to continue around here and move up into third place, with the pit stops being made by the drivers in front. So let's see what Tap is going to do. He's got plenty of fuel in the car yet, so I suspect we're probably going to see Tap run another lap here. And Hairy is going to come out just in front of Tap here, and it looks like it's going to be about 2 seconds, somewhere in there. So Tap now on the back end of P7 here. We got TDC in 9th place with Type R and Bar 27. And they all have a decent amount of fuel in their cars still. Bar 27, the driver with the least amount of fuel. And I feel like Egon has made an early pit stop here already as well. So our race leader here, he still has, well, at least this lap of fuel left in his racing car. By the time we get to the end of the lap, I'm assuming that the fuel is going to be getting pretty close to being not enough for another lap for first and second place here. Petrolhead comes out. He is going to be in third position with Supra. Supra here in fourth place. He's got a little bit of damage on the front end of that car, so mistake here somewhere on the racetrack, which has actually allowed Petrol to get ahead of him here. Doug Burrow in 5th place here, and he's got about 4 seconds to Supra right now in front. We got Dialful Racing here in 6th place after his pit stop. Hair Razor also fresh off a pit stop here. And Tap is still moving on his first stint of tires, pretty much with the rest of the field here as well. TDC in 9th place. We've got Type R here in 10th position as well. We've got Egon up into 11th now. We've got Iron Knight here in 12th. We've got Bar 27, who just made a pit stop, coming out in 13th position. So definitely little groups throughout the different areas of the racetrack here. You can see for the most part the mid-pack is quite tight together. First and second have a little bit of gap, and then from third down through about 9th place, it's fairly close. It's going to be very difficult to drive that Audi, you would think, here today around the Nordschleife. That Audi relies on a DRS button, essentially a hybrid system, much like the new Porsche GTS car that came in as well. Relies on a DRS or an electric hybrid system in a sense to accelerate more quickly, which is what keeps it competitive in its class of car. So the Audi is the only car in the Group 2 class that has this DRS button in it currently right now in the Gran Turismo 7 platform. And what that means is that poor Supra here, every time he comes out of an exit, has to be holding that DRS button. So you can see on the right hand side of the screen, you see that red flashing button above all the little symbols there. That is that electric hybrid system in this car essentially, and it's called a DRS button. It's not essentially DRS because it's a continuous boost system under acceleration, but he needs to hold a button on the steering wheel in order to activate that. And you can see there he's coming under a braking zone. He's going to release the DRS, and then as soon as he gets back into a straight line, he's going to get right back on that DRS again. And that's what gives the car the quick acceleration. So he's going to be off the DRS, coming through the carousel. The moment he has this car off the carousel, I suspect we're going to see him back on that DRS again. And he's being patient with that DRS button, making sure that he doesn't hit it too early to get too much tire rotation and lose the back end of his car. So he's being very smart about how he's using that DRS button here. And you can see he's off of it again to get through this sector here. You got a little bit of coasting, a little bit of lifting and throttle control to do through here. So this is not the spot you want to be using that DRS. But the moment you know that you're out, he's right back on that DRS button again. And very difficult racing for him. He's got that extra step he needs to worry about inside that cockpit of that racing car here today. So it's a big challenge here for him today around the Nordschleife for sure. We got Doug Burrow here in 5th place with Dialful Racing starting to track in here in behind him as well. So 1.7 seconds is that gap here as Dialful continues to try and track down Doug. So a little bit of an interesting thing there. We've got Hair Razor here in 7th place, and we've got Tap just in behind here in 8th place as well. And that gap really hasn't changed here. It's kind of stayed fairly consistent since The pit stops have rolled through for the first half of our drivers. We have not seen the second half of our drivers make that first pit stop yet here today. Some have stopped a fair bit earlier than others, I believe. I think we had a couple drivers make early stops. But for the most part, most of the group here on that similar lap strategy when it comes to pits. So TDC here in 10th position. We've got Egon rolling here in 11th place in that Lexus. We've got Barr in the NSX, and he is also being chased by Iron Knight in a Lexus here as well. And ooh, big mistake there from Bar 27, and I think he just may have collected up Iron Knight there. Iron Knight just going a little bit wide in reaction to Bar's mistake there as well, but Bar 27 going for a ride. And there's been some tense moments there for him today here on the racing track, but it's Subi Mark right now, and he's gonna clip pit wall coming in there, so that's gonna cost him a little bit of time, but he is in pit lane, so we're gonna see Mike 1972 coming into pit lane here as well. Alright, so it is Petrolhead here now in 3rd place. He made a pit stop the lap previous, so he's going to continue to go around. Should give him the race lead over here as he comes through the start-finish line. Subi Mark is still fueling up, so it is now going to be Petrolhead to take over our race lead here. That'll leave Subi in 2nd place. Mike is still sitting in pit lane with Super there. That has now Doug and Diaful Racing coming through, and it is nose to tail here as they come around the final corner. Across the start-finish line, heading into turn number 1. We got a nice little battle here for 3rd and 4th place. Hair Razor's in 5th. He's going to come out just ahead of those guys as well. Subi comes out in between Doug and Petrol. So right now the battle is between these two here on track. Now we have an NSX versus a Lexus here right now in the Group 2 car class as well. And there are different tire compounds on the driver's cars as well. So you would think that we're going to see the driver on the better tire compound at some point here apply enough pressure and get a pass done, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Hair Razor here in 5th place, and just a little bit of space in between our drivers here now after that first sequence of pit stops. About 8 to 10 seconds are separating the majority of the field from each other here currently on the racetrack. A couple of smaller gaps here in the back end as everybody's just kind of getting through that first pit stop sequence. So it looks like we're going to see 2 stops here maybe today from our racers. So very, very interesting strategies. I wasn't sure if we are going to see 3 stops or if it was going to be 2 stops here today. I wasn't sure what the fuel range in the cars were going to be around the racetrack here today either, but you can see the clouds are starting to settle in over certain parts of the racetrack here. And that is, again, these ever so changing track conditions that we expect to see from our dynamic weather model here at Gran Turismo 7. So we are going to see cloudy and sunny periods, potentially maybe even some rain. You just never know. And we do have a little bit of lag here from a couple of our drivers on track here today. That's pretty normal. Some of our drivers have a little bit of rubber banding, we like to call it, but this is very nominal. From my point of view, anyways, it looks very nominal. It's still very doable. It's very easy to race against that. You just need to give a couple extra inches of space when you're battling with drivers that are just slightly bouncing back and forth on the racetrack. And you could probably hear it. I can't hear because I don't have the game sound on in my ears right now, but you could probably hear the little bit of chirping in the tires that indicates the net coating issue in the game here. We've got Hair Razor in 5th place, and he's 4.5 seconds in behind 3rd and 4th place here, so we're just kind of making mention of that right now. And at some point, I really do suspect we're going to see Diaful put some pressure here on Doug Burrow, but again, you got to find the spot on the track you're comfortable making the pass at as well. Alright, there we go, and I think we're going to see the attempted move here. No, he did pull out in beside there for a minute And I thought we were going to see the battle happen right there, and that would have been a decent section to try and get the move done there. There is enough room to navigate side by side through the first part of this section on the racetrack to get the move done, and then you got to kind of try and settle back in for the second part of the sector there. But Diafull Racing got a little bit of a charge, couldn't get the job done, and just settles back in behind Doug here for the time being as we head into the carousel here. You can see Diafull really bouncing around there. It looks like Doug missed the carousel a little bit, came in a little too hot, had to take the flat side of the track around, and that just allowed Diafull Racing to track right back in here and continue this charge for the final podium spot here on lap number 6. And he's doing a pretty good job here so far at managing that pace to Doug Burrow up in front, but Doug's doing a really great job of managing the pace to the driver in behind on the better tire compound as well. All right. And I don't think we're going to see the battle here, so let's just keep flipping through here for now. Diafull just seems comfortable pacing in behind Doug here for the time being, so now we've got Supra and Mike here in 6th and 7th place, and I'm not sure if Mike has just gotten around Supra here recently or if Supra has just tracked Mike down. But we are definitely nose to tail here for 6th place as well, and Supra is going to get on the outside of Mike here. Mike's got the ideal line through the corner there, and he's just going to continue to try to keep his car on the right apex through here, as Supra is definitely trying to see if he can find a way to get a position here on Mike 1972. Supra's doing a good job of keeping the nose in clean air so he can get his turn-ins and stay nice and close to Mike 1972, so he does have an opportunity potentially to do an offensive maneuver here, and he's got a nose in here, so we are side by side, but he is going to back out just a little bit early there. Not enough position there to get the pass done, he felt, so he just backed out there a little bit, settled right back in behind Mike 1972. And as we hit the mini carousel here, we are getting ready to head to the Hasselbeck Straight. So I guess the question is, can the Audi DRS help him here and get him in that slipstream on the exit, get in behind this NSX and get the job done on this very, very long run here? We're about to find out. Let's sit on with Mike 1972 here, as that Audi is very secure in the slipstream here, and you can see how quickly that Audi got around the NSX right there on that straight. But now Mike 1972, there's plenty of straightaway left here yet for him to potentially respond coming into the braking zone yet, and there we go. We're going to see it pull back out in the slip. We're going to go side by side into the corners, and the NSX is going to get the job done back on Supra there. So the pass came a little early, unfortunately, there for Supra on the Hasselbeck there, and that allowed Mike 1972 to tuck right back into the slipstream in behind the Audi there, and to use that slipstream to get the position back before heading to turn 1 and drag race to the start-finish line there, as Mike 1972 does come across at first, and a good over-under right there coming from Supra. And Supra is going to get the job done through turns 1 and 2 there and get back around Mike 1972. So a good battle here for 6th place right now between these two. It's Tap here in 8th place. He's got 17 seconds in behind that group, but definitely getting a little bit of time with that small little battle there. We've got Type R here in 9th place. We've got TDC Gaming here in 10th position. We've got Iron Knight in 11th place here. We've got Bar 27 in 12th position, and we got Egon tucked right in behind here in 13th position as well. So about 2 minutes behind our race leader here right now is the back of the pack, our 12th and 13th drivers. So about a third of the racetrack separating first through to 13th place here right now. And that's about normal here at the Nordschleife in a race like this. We don't typically see the driver stay nose to tail too long for too often. That's when we start making our subtle little mistakes on our own, and pit strategies as well can play a big factor into how races finish here at the Nordschleife as well. It's very easy to miscalculate fuel here. Petrol is in 2nd place. We've got Doug Burrow in 3rd. He's starting to close back in on the group there now. It's 4.6 seconds, and he's only 7.8 seconds off the overall race lead here as well. He's still got Diafol tucked in here in 4th place, and Diafol has just seemed content to sit in behind Doug and run Doug's pace here. We have Hairraiser in 5th place as well, Supra here in 6th position, and Mike still very close behind here, 1.3 seconds in behind the Audi. We got Tap in the Lexus here. He is still at about 17 seconds, and then it's a very large gap to Type R in behind. So Tap is officially in no man's land here right now, sitting in 8th place, and he's going to need a little help for either pit strategy or a couple of mistakes from the drivers up in front to start closing that gap back up if he wants to have potential battle. And oh, there we go, the race leader gets it all wrong there. He's going to find himself into the wall, and that is going to allow Team Rad's Petrolhead to absolutely close right up here, apply some pressure, and potentially even get a pass done here, as now Subi Mark is going to be suffering from some rear aero damage here for 30 seconds. It's going to slow his charge up the racetrack, so you can see how quickly that GTR is closed up on Subi Mark here. And is Petro going to take a look here to try and get a pass done on Mark? For the time being, he's just contented sitting in behind, but is he just looking for an opportunity on the racetrack to try and make a move happen? So just a small miscalculation coming into that corner from Subi Mark, and this has now rejuvenated this battle for the lead. So there it is. Simple little mistakes here at the Nordschleife change everything in these races. So Doug and Diafol Racing have now closed up to 3.7 seconds. So this is basically a 4-way battle almost now for a racing lead. Hairraiser's 12 seconds in behind that group right now, and he's got 7.5 seconds to Supra in behind. He's in no man's land here as well right now. Alright, there's Egon here. He's currently sitting in 11th. We got Barr, who is must have just made a mistake there. He was moving a little bit slower around the corner there. And some of these drivers definitely having some bigger struggles with the track than others here today as well. But it is Subi Mark here in 1st place. We've got Petrolhead here in 2nd position. We got Doug in 3rd and Diafol in 4th place. 5.3 seconds to gap from 4th to 1st. Halfway through a 90-minute race at the Nordschleife, and we got our top 4 still only separated by 5.5 seconds. And that's some pretty impressive racing from those 4 right here right now. Hairraiser, he had that early race incident. He was up in 3rd place. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he ended up falling all the way to the back of the pack, down to 13th position. And now at the midway point of the race here, he's finding himself up in the top 5 again. So good recovery here so far from Hairraiser. Supra is doing super things. He's battling hard here all race long in that car, and he's currently got himself up in the 6th position with Mike 1972 just 2.8 seconds in behind chasing, who was the driver that I did get that pass on just a couple laps ago. A lap ago even, as it's such a long lap here. We have Tap here in 8th place, and again just in no man's land right now. Type R here in 9th. Egon in 10th place. Bar 27 here in 12th position, and all 13 of our drivers are still on track here. That is noted at the midway point of our race. We're 44 minutes into the race here now, and this is designed to be a 90-minute race here today. So we are right on point here by the looks of it with that timer. So Cody B coming in with the thumbs up there as well on the stream. And we are not live on, for some reason, GTRC's YouTube channel right now, because I don't know why. It just did not connect. So Doug making a mistake here on the racetrack now, 8.5 seconds in behind. Diafol Racing now sitting in that final podium spot here on track here so far today, and it was 8.5 seconds now on Doug. So he should be able to, now in clean air, be able to start putting in some good track lap times here, try to attack this track for the last part of the stint here, and see if he can close that gap up to the race leaders. It's only 4.8 seconds, and he is on a tire advantage. Got Doug here in 4th place. He's still got 5.5 seconds over teammate Hair Razor here right now, so he doesn't have any immediate pressure in behind, but definitely not wanting to be 8 seconds off that podium battle there. And oh boy, Supra is going for a ride, and that was a tough one, and he is ghosted, thankfully. In other words, that could have been a very bad accident as Mike 1972 came through there, so not sure what happened there to Super, but we just caught the tail end. Oh, and he just slid out into the grass there a little bit, and we already saw all that great stuff. Alright. In a normal situation right there, it would have been ideal for Super to back up, let Mike 1972 get through there, and then go ahead and go forward, but thankfully the car was ghosted when he lurched back forward there, and he did not get absolutely T-boned by Mike 1972, as Mike 1972 was able to go through the ghosted car, so very fortunate there for Mike 1972, as Super was just trying to get himself straight back out on the racetrack. We got Egon in 11th place, with Bar 27 chasing in 12th, and Iron Knight just in behind here in 13th position as well. And again, the gaps are not that big between a lot of the drivers, because a 4-second gap on the Nordschleife means nothing with these small little mistakes these drivers make. A small mistake on the Nordschleife can cost you a couple seconds very easily here. Dirty tires, damage, getting back up to race pace, getting your tires warmed back up, getting the dirt off of them. There's a lot of different things that the drivers need to consider in when they make these mistakes, and sometimes that can make one mistake compounded several little mistakes. Next thing you know, you're 2 or 3 positions down from where you just were. And you can see that the drivers are really struggling on these hard racing tires here around the racetrack today. You can see it's almost foggy in certain parts of the racetrack with the cloud cover here right now. We got Diaful Racing here in 3rd place. We've got Doug trying to chase back in here. He's got the gap down to 6.3, so it was 8.5 seconds when we noticed the position change from 3rd to 4th place there. So he is starting to close back in a little bit here. Hair Razor in 5th place. He's got 6 seconds to Doug, and he's got about 12 seconds to Mike in behind. Mike is now got lots of room here. He's got about 9 seconds to Super in behind, and he's got 12 seconds in front. Can focus on trying to put in those good quality fast laps at this point. And I kind of think that that's really the case for a lot of our racers here today. Now that they're in that clean air, they don't really have any immediate battles happening in front of them right this second. They are really just ultimately trying to focus on putting in the best laps they can here today. And you can see how much of a time difference the tires make here on the racetrack as well. I mean, on the medium tires we were, 610s, 611s. Now on the hard tire we're in the 617 range. So it's a good 7-8 seconds overall around this racetrack, and the tire difference as well. Oof, and a moment there from Doug Burrow as we come to see what's going on from him there. We have his tail in a massive slide there, but he gathers it back up, and he continues moving on the track surface here, so it's going to cost him a smidgen of time there to Diaful Racing. About 3 or 4 tenths that little wiggle cost him there, but he does manage to keep it on the tarmac surface, and that is ultimately a win here at the Nordschleife. And he is struggling a little bit there. You can see he's really starting to flirt with some of these track edges here, and that could potentially bite the drivers a little bit here, over pushing around the racetrack. The last thing you want to do with the Nordschleife is overdrive the track or the car, so sometimes you just gotta dial it back 5%, brake a little bit earlier, just hesitate slightly on your throttle, and that will reel your control around the racetrack back in sometimes. So sometimes the drivers just gotta make an on-the-fly adjustment. Sometimes you get excited, sometimes you can see where you're starting to feel like you're in a rhythm, so you start to feel a little more comfortable to try and push the car a little bit harder. And that is typically the time that you're going to make those mistakes. So you have to be very hyper aware and very hyper focused in behind the wheel of these cars on this racetrack, especially around here, to maximize every little thing that's going on during the race around you. Alright, so we got Mark out on the track. He has opted to continue to go around. We got Dialful Racing has come into pit lane. Petrolhead has also come into pit lane. Dugborough has come into pit lane. Hairraiser coming into pit lane. Now, Mike pit at the same time as Subi Mark did in that first sequence. I suspect it'll be no different this time around. We should just see him zip right on through here, which is the case. And he's going to move up into second place there. A little bit of a mistake on the exit there, but does it put him up into P number 2. Third place is Petrolhead as he comes out of pit lane. Dialful Racing comes out right in behind him, and Dugborough comes right out in behind those two, and he's got Supra coming in at race pace from the start finish line right in behind. So Supra is going to have some warmed up tires. He's going to have those scrubbed in tires, and he has been on this racing stint here for 3 or 4 laps. So this is kind of a battle of... Ooh, that was a great reaction right there from Supra as Doug gets that car all kinds of out of shape there, coming around the corner, doing a little bit of fishtail in there. Supra had to check up real quick there not to get into him. Does a great job at not getting into the back end of Dugborough there. And now he's going to start to charge back up towards him here, but he is on tires that are starting to get a little worn out. Hairraiser, 7 seconds in behind in 7th place here right now, and again having a good recovery drive here today is Hairraiser. We have Tap here in 8th place. It's been a pretty good recovery for him here so far today as well. We've got TDC Gaming here up into 9th position right now, sitting in currently in a top 10 spot with Type R rounding out that final top 10 spot. We've got Egon here in 11th place, and he's got Iron Knight and Bar 27 just in behind here, all on the long back straightaway. Alright, so race leader, very well in the lead right now. Obviously he hasn't made a pit stop, but the rest of the drivers in behind him pitting, so that's why we see that big gap right now currently. But the question is that a big enough gap for him to maintain the lead when he makes his pit stop? Got a frog in my throat right now, I apologize ladies and gentlemen. So I've just been muting the mic as I've been trying to kind of cough it out here. We got Mike 1972 here in 2nd place. We got Petrolhead here in 3rd position. Those two are very close together. Mike stayed out. Petrol's coming out after a fresh pit stop. Dialful here in 4th place, much the same for him, except the only difference is now he's going on the hard tire. He's going to be coming up against a lot of those racing medium tires now, and that might not be ideal for the amount of time left in the race yet. We still have 6.5 laps remaining, including the lap we're on. So I mean, we're still 35-40 minutes away from this being done yet. Super here in 6th place. We got Hairraiser here in 7th. We've got Tap in 8th place. We've got TDC Gaming here in 9th position. We got Type R here in 10th. And we got Egon in 11th. We got Iron Knight in 12th. And we got Bar 27 here in 13th position. And what's going on, White Devil? How you doing, brother? Appreciate you stopping in. And again, I do apologize, everybody, for us not being live on the GTRC channel right now. For some reason, it just didn't connect. So we'll upload the broadcast to their channel after the stream is done here today. It's Mike 1972 here in 2nd position with Petrolhead here in 3rd place. We've got Dugborough in 4th position. He's got Dialful all over him here in 5th place. So battle re-engaged here between these two drivers. And they have been pretty cutesy with each other here all race long. They've been very close together, and you can see Supra's just in the background there in the Audi as well. Alright, so are we going to see the battle happen here? Doug Burrow's doing a great job right now, leading the charge of this three-way battle for 4th place here with Diaphil Racing and Supra just in behind. So Doug does a great job at managing. He's no slouch. He knows how to defend. He knows how to attack. So let's see how he manages the pressure from in behind here from Diaphil and Supra. However, Doug's doing a good job right now at kind of trying to open the gap up. So actually Supra has gotten around Diaphil Racing and moved himself up into 5th place. So Diaphil now down into 6th position and with a little bit of damage on that car as well. So making a mistake, obviously, getting into the barrier. And he will pay the price for 30 seconds of damage for that mistake on the track. We got Hair Razor here in 7th place with Tap in 8th. We've got TDC Gaming here in 9th position. We got Type R here in 10th place. We've got Egon in 11th. We got Iron Knight in 12th. And we got Bar 27 here in 13th position. Alright, so race leader. And I suspect we're going to see him come in at the end of lap 10. Just a guess, but we'll have to wait and see. Got Mike 1972. He's got 33 seconds now. He hasn't pit yet either, so he's also going to owe a pit stop here yet before the end of this race when he chooses to, of course, make that stop. And we have Petrolhead here in 3rd place, and he's only 4 seconds in behind Mike, so Petrol will get the spot back from Mike 1972 when he pits. The bigger question is Petrolhead close enough to jump over Subi Mark when he makes his pit stop and take the race lead back? Doug here in 4th place. You can see Petrol up there. It's 2.7 seconds. So top 4, again, fairly close together. Now, once the pit stop sequence all shapes out here, I suspect we're going to see these top 3 drivers back within 5 seconds of each other again, give or take. Diaphil 6 seconds in behind here, and he's now back up into 5th place, and Supra must have made a much bigger mistake as Hair Razor's now up into 6th place here as well, and I think we're maybe seeing some fuel conservation coming from the Audi driver here. Maybe he had to check up a little bit to make sure he had the fuel to get through this lap. I'm not really sure. It looks like he has plenty there. There's still, 3 or 4% of fuel in the car here, 6% fuel in the car as he comes into pit lane. So maybe just a mistake made there. We got TDC Gaming here in 9th place, going for a little ride there, having a chat with Barry. We got Type R here in 10th place as well, with Egon in 11th, Iron in 12th, and Bar rounding out the field here now in 13th position. So again, lots of positions being swapped here, and a lot of it is just due to the driver's own personal miscues against this racetrack. The Nordschleife is not for the faint of heart. It is a difficult racetrack, one of the most difficult in the world. And, well, we've all seen why here firsthand today for our finale here at the GTRC GR2 series. So it is a big congratulations to Ten Tenths Piggums for our Audi TT Cup Series Championship win last weekend in our finale. And it is going to be Ten Tenths Subi Mark taking home the championship win in the Group 2 series here. And it's going to be the Ten Tenths Simracing team taking down both championships here from the GTRC in this current championship season run. So congratulations to TT Simracing. It's going to be Mike 1972 here in 2nd place. We've got Team Rat's Petrolhead here in 3rd place. And again, those curbs. He just got a little too much curb there. The car kind of came to a very slow sliding halt almost, in a sense. And he keeps it out of trouble. He keeps it out of the wall. He keeps it on the track. However, that does allow Doug Burrow to close in very significantly here and got the gap down to under 1.5 seconds now. So these little mistakes made by these drivers, I said that this race is too hard to tell who's going to win. We got the leader making a big mistake right there. He just keeps the car out of trouble as well himself. So all these little mistakes can make a big difference at race end here today. Petrolhead here in 3rd place, and again, there it is, going a little bit wide, and that's going to give Doug Burrow the final podium position there as he's going to get the move done. So Petrol just getting it a little bit wrong there, and again, just going for a slide through the grass. Now, he does keep the car out of damage trouble, so that's good. He can get right back on it here, but he's going to have dirty tires for a couple corners, and that is going to cost him a little bit more time on the 3rd place driver, Doug Burrow, in front. So Doug Burrow didn't have to think about where he was going to try and make the pass, as he just was able to capitalize on, again, a mistake made by another driver on the racetrack. And it is really the battle of the racers versus the Nordschleife here today, not necessarily the racers versus the racers here today. Diafol in 6th place. He's been having a really great run today here. It's been a little bit of a slow season for him here. He's a great racer, and he started off really well, and then he just kind of faded into the mid-pack a little bit here as the middle part of the season comes, but he really came out to finish off strong here in our finale tonight, and currently sitting in 6th place. And he's been having some tough battles out on the racetrack all race long too, so huge credit to Diafol Racing and his performance here today. We've got Tap in 7th place, we've got Supra in 8th place, and this driver's been all up and down this racetrack, battling with all sorts of different racers here on the racetrack. This man is a fighter in this Audi today, that is for sure. We got TDC Gaming here in 9th place, and it's been a fairly quiet race for him for the most part. Again, been battling the track more than the races here for himself today. Type R here in 10th place, and seat time is crucial for this guy. He just loves to drive, he loves to race, he loves with it, he loves being with this community, so it doesn't seem to matter where he is on the racetrack or what position he's in. He just enjoys being out here in the competition, racing with the community, and we love to see that. He's a hugely great defensive racer as well. Got Egon here in 11th place, and much of the same for him. He just likes to race. He's in the VR2 headset, so he sees things quite a bit differently than the majority of the racers on the track that he's up against here today. And I would imagine that this is quite a task in the VR2 headset for 15 times around the racetrack. I can just imagine how hard it is. And as you can see there, a little mistake, he's going to get into the grass there, and that's going to allow Iron Knight to close the gap up there a little bit as well. Bar 27 here in 13th position, so 3.5 minutes in behind would normally be a couple laps down on a normal racetrack here in Gran Turismo 7, but due to the nature and the length of the Nordschleife, 97 left and right hand corners and roughly about 15 miles of track, it is very, very easy to make those mistakes and stay on the lead lap. So even though he's 3 minutes behind the race leader here right now, that is less than half the distance of this racetrack, and he's still technically on the lead lap. So just goes to show the absolute size and technicalities that our racers are dealing with here in our finale today. Again, Nordschleife is not something we see too often in competitive style racing, and we thought it was just going to be way too fitting to have these Group 2 cars on it this season, so it had to come into the schedule, and of course it has to be the finale, because it's the Nordschleife. I mean, come on. So it's Doug Burrow here in 2nd place. We got Petrolhead here in 3rd place, and now Mike is in this conversation. So he started in 4th place at the beginning of this race, and now he's currently sitting back in 4th place. Our race leader has come in to make the pit stop. You can see they got the tire warmer blankets on those racing tires there as well, but that only helps so much. So it's Doug Burrow here in 2nd place, and the power of the GTR is coming up the Hasselback straight here. I think Petrol's purposely not in the slipstream here because he doesn't want to close right in on Doug right into the braking zone here. I think that that's a timing thing for Petrolhead. I think he realizes that he's going to close right in on Doug right into this braking zone, and I don't think that's what he wanted to do there. I think he wanted to use this to try and get the run through into the start-finish line here on Doug, and again use the next lap to try and attack, and I think that's exactly what happened there. Petrol does exactly what I figured he was doing there. He closes up that gap on Doug Burrow, but Subi Mark is going to come back out 7.2 seconds ahead of Doug Petrolhead, so that 33-second gap was just enough to come back out in the race lead after his final pit stop. Doug Burrow here in 2nd position, with Petrolhead very close behind in 3rd, and Doug making again a little mistake, and Petrolhead is now on the rear bumper of Doug Burrow here as we head through the first sector of the Nordschleife here. And are we going to see the battle here between Doug and Petrolhead for 2nd place? Now, this is important between these two drivers because these drivers are also battling each other for points in the championship point standings, and whichever one of them finishes ahead of the other one could make a big difference here today as well. So this is an important battle on the racetrack here between these two drivers, and both these drivers are more than well aware of it as well. So let's see what happens and how it happens and when it happens here. When is the battle going to start between these two? And again, it is, you got to pick your moment on this racetrack. It isn't wide enough to battle 2x2 through a lot of this section of the racetrack here, but it is a lot of risk versus reward where you choose to pass here on the Nordschleife as well, because some of these sectors isn't ideal to be 2x2 through. You just want to sit in single file and use a different sector to try to make it pass. This is one of those sectors here that you will see drivers try to make the pass, but Petrol's just chilling right now. He's just sitting in behind Doug Burrow here right now, and maybe he's just waiting to see if Doug Burrow is going to make a mistake so he can get the easy pass. And I feel like if we don't see that in the next 20 or 30 corners, then we may see Petrolhead try to reassess the situation and find a spot where either Doug is a little bit weaker than he is, maybe that car is a little bit weaker than the GTR, and where he can use the GTR prowess to get the advantage over that NSX is hard to say, but the two cars are fairly equal in the grand scheme of things here. So a little mistake there by Petrolhead, and that's going to just take him off that battle by a couple tenths there. So it's Hair Razor here now up into 4th place and 8 seconds down from the podium here right now. Hair Razor, is he the sleeper here today? We got Dialful Racing in 5th place. He's having an incredible race here for himself today. We have Mike 1972 in 6th place. We've got Supra here in the 7th position in the last ride in this Audi, and I'm sure he's going to be pretty happy to put that thing back away in the racing garage for a while and get into something different. And we got Tap here in 8th place with TDC Gaming in 9th position. We've got Type R here in 10th place as well. Egon Rockin' and Rollin' in 11th position. Iron Knight's coming out of pit lane here, and Bar 27 is having a tough day on the racetrack here today, but he is still out on the racetrack, and that's what's most important. So here we go. And again, he has points to collect here. He has a position to defend himself in the point standings as well. So every one of these drivers, it's important. These points today are important. So you're not going to see, unless a car is broken, I don't think we're going to see any of these cars be going down into the paddock here today. So we're on lap 11 of 15. We're an hour and 6 minutes, almost an hour 7 minutes into this race. That leaves us roughly about 23 minutes here in our race today. We have Doug Burrow in 2nd place. He's still holding off Petrolhead here for the time being, and oh man, it is going to be close between these two. We got Hair Razor here in 4th place, and his car looks like it's in much better condition overall than Petrolhead and Doug Burrow up in front as well. So with the gap only being 6 seconds, if he can just manage a little better tires here in his car without losing any more time to those guys, they could be the advantage going to Hair Razor on the final lap here. Got Dialful up into 5th place. He's got 18 seconds on Mike. He almost made the mistake coming out of the carousel there, but he just keeps it together. Supra here in 7th position with Tap in 8th place. We've got Damcat here in 9th position, Type R here in 10th place as well with Egon in 11th. We got Iron Knight in 12th place, and we got Bar 27 here in 13th position. So the whole field is still on track and still moving and grooving and enjoying the German scenery here as these racers literally race around a chunk of the country here essentially at the Nordschleife. And that's the cool thing about these tracks over in Europe and in that area of the world, because the tracks are large and they skirt a good chunk of the countryside. Spa, Le Mans, Nurburgring. Just for examples, I mean, there's much bigger tracks out there. There's some rally tracks out there that are even bigger than the Nordschleife as well, and are also considered even more technical than the Nordschleife. But the Nordschleife is definitely up there, and definitely, in my opinion, top 3 of most difficult racetracks in the world as far as racing goes. I think it's just a personal opinion, but I definitely classify it there in easily top 5. So it's Bar 27 here in 13th position right now, and these boys are absolutely doing a spectacular job out here today. They're giving it everything they got on a very difficult racetrack. So Subi Mark has 8.3 seconds over Doug Burrow. Now Subi did just make a mistake there as well, so that gap is closing between Doug and our race leader here. Hair Razor now up into 3rd position, so there we go. We were just talking about the condition of the car near the end of the race. Hair Razor has much better tires than Doug Burrow and Petrolhead on either side of his racing car at this point right now. So if he can just utilize that to his advantage, it could work out really, really well for Hair Razor here today. Petrolhead here now in 4th position with Dialful chasing in 5th place. We got Mike in 6th, and just gaps everywhere here now. We got Supra in 7th. We got Tap in 8th. We've got TDC Gaming here in 9th place. Got pit lane penalty there. Got Type R in 10th position. We got Egon in 11th place. Pardon me. Let's go take a look at that Egon car there as he comes around. We got Iron Knight here in 12th place and Bar 27 rounding out the field here. So tough day on the racetrack for many of our racers. Tough racetrack for our racers. So here we go, and Subimark is moving. He's grooving. The gap is still 7.8 seconds. Petrolhead now, however, has taken that fastest lap point away from Subimark here right now, but again, not going to change anything with the way the race is sitting right now. And a 6:06.470 here from Petrolhead as well currently right now with the fastest lap as it sits currently in this race today. Subimark though opening the gap back up. It almost has it back up to 8 seconds here. Doug has given him a proper push here though in second place, and we would expect to see that, but the tire difference is massive. Hairraiser here in third place. The gap is coming down. It was 6 seconds. Now it's 4.7. So Hairraiser is tracking here on Dougborough, and he just has more race car underneath of him right now. So this is a potential for Hairraiser to reel in Doug. Yeah, we still have about 20 minutes of racing left, so there is plenty of time for Hairraiser to try and close that gap up as well. Petrolhead's 3.8 seconds in behind Hairraiser. He's going to try and close back in on that podium, but again, his car is not in nowhere near as good a condition as the third place driver Hairraiser's car up in front of him. So it's going to be a tough ask there for Petrolhead. Got Mike 1972. He's got 8.6 seconds in behind Diaflow Racing if he wants to grab any more positions on the racetrack here today. Supra's 13 seconds in behind Mike 1972. He's got 14 seconds over Tap, who's got over a minute over TDC Gaming here right now. He's got 20 seconds on Type R. He's got 12 seconds on Egon. Egon's got about 12 seconds on Iron Knight, and Iron Knight has just about a minute on Bar 27. So not a whole lot happening in the back half of the field here right now. Drivers are just trying to get to the checkered flag at this point and call it a season in the best position they can get in here today. So I suspect that we're going to see the battling happening up in the front part of this racetrack, and you can see dirty tires here as Mark is swerving side to side trying to clean them tires up, and you can see another small mistake there has allowed the gap to close a little bit more. Gap now down to 6 seconds from our race leader to second place. However, with that being said, the gap from second place to third place is also diminishing here as Hairraiser is starting to track in here as well. Let's jump on board with Team Rad's Hairraiser here right now. He is the fastest mover on the track right now. He is purple as he comes through the sector here right now. And to me, it seems like this man is on a mission. 3.4 seconds and continuously closing here. So the difference in the tires right now between the two drivers could potentially be the difference in which one of these two finishes in second and in third place here today, but it is also going to be making no mistakes. You got to get it all right. And you can see Hairraiser really nursing the car around here, getting it set up for the carousel. And he can just see the back end of Dougborough in second place here as we enter the carousel. He takes the late carousel entry. That is a great entry into the carousel. He's going to carry a ton of speed over there. And he comes out with 80 miles an hour still through the carousel there. So that is going to allow him to close up some more time on Dougborough there. And that was a great entry. The late entry into the carousel is a great entry point into the carousel. It allows you to really just kind of ride that corner like a roller coaster. It just hooks, the car hooks in and it just zips around the bottom side of that carousel. So for those of us that are wondering how to tackle the carousel, the late entry into the carousel is the way to go. And oh boy, there it is. There's the mistake, and it was made by Hairraiser, and that is going to cost him some big time there on Dougborough, and it's going to give him the damage on his race car there as well. And that charge, for the time being, has been slowed down. There's still plenty of race left here yet, though. We are far, far from done here yet today, as we are just entering in towards the latter part of lap number 12 here from our race leaders. So some of these drivers are still 3 minutes away from the start-finish line here, essentially. And I mean, Subi Mark still has probably about 3 miles of track left here to get to lap number 13 here as well yet. So this race is far from over. 5.9 seconds from Supermark to Dugborough. Doug's now got 10 seconds to Hair Razor, and Hair Razor's in a battle here with Petrolhead. Petrolhead has closed the gap up here. We're side by side here between the two drivers, and Petrolhead is just going to get the job done here as we head through that high-speed sector. And that was great racing right there between the two drivers. Side-by-side action. That is side-by-side action done at its best right there. No contact, clean battling, and the drivers still come out nose to tail, and Hair Razor gets the run on Petrolhead. Petrolhead makes a small mistake coming through the mini carousel there, and now this could be good for Hair Razor if he can get a good run coming into Hasselbeck's here. The GTR will out-drag him for a little bit, but that GTR will also drag that NSX along and give Hair Razor an opportunity to potentially get the position back from Petrolhead here using the slipstream. So the GTR will outdrive this NSX in a straight line, but because Hair Razor got a good run and he kept close enough, he's going to get the free pull along from Petrolhead here, and he makes the pass just leading into the kink. So Petrolhead here is going to try and respond, and we are side by side now as we head into the braking zone here, and this is a massive battle, and Dugborough having to come into pit lane here, and that is not ideal for Dugborough as he is going to give some time up to Petrolhead and Hair Razor. And oh my, Petrol and Hair Razor also coming into pit lane here. So some 3 stops happening behind our race leader, and our race leader, well, you can see what I can see, does not need to stop again here today. Now with a massive advantage over the field here, and now is most certainly his race to lose. Dugborough's going to come out as 32 seconds by the time Doug gets back up to race pace here. It's going to be Petrolhead coming out in 3rd place. It's going to be Hair Razor coming out right behind him in 4th place, and Diaful Racing has also come in. Now Mike 1972 is not going to have to make a pit stop. He's good to go to the end here as well, and he's actually going to jump a position over Diaful Racing and move up into 5th place here. Supra's also going to grab a spot there and move up into 6th position. So Diaful here still in pit lane and potentially at risk of being in Tap's battling range here as well as he comes around, and most certainly the case. A big slide coming out of pit exit there, and there's Tap 3 seconds in behind. So things are tightening up a little bit here now from 2nd down through about 9th place here. So Subimark's gone 30 seconds up the road. He doesn't need to make another stop. It is literally his race to lose at this point now, with that extra set of stops from the drivers in behind. Now I did kind of hint that we would probably potentially see some 3 stops here coming from some of the drivers based off of the pit stop sequence in the early part of the race, and unfortunately my suspicions were most certainly correct there. So that has taken any opportunity of Doug potentially to battle Mark for the race win, but that has still potentially left some good battling here for these final 2 podium positions, with Petrolhead here in 3rd place and Hair Razor chasing in 4th place, but he's got the 3-second track limit penalty, so that may kill the charge here. We still got 3 laps to go here as well, including the lap we're on, so lots of time here yet for positions and time to be made up on the racetrack, but we are most certainly getting near the end of our event here today and for this season as well. So with that being said, that means that the development team in behind the scenes here at GTRC is hard at work again, and that means that the next set of championships will be coming in a few weeks' time. So I can't even speculate when that announcement is going to be made because I don't actually know right now. We are just in the early discussions of what the next major and mini championship season is going to be. So if you want to find out, you want to get involved, you want to get back in, and you want to do some racing against this group, you want to see how you stand up or stack up against this particular group of racers, keep an eye on our social pages, keep an eye on the YouTube channel for GTRC for announcements, and of course if you want to stay in the loop and be in the know, jump into the GTRC Discord server or GT45 Gaming Discord server, or both, and you'll always be updated with what's going on with the Gran Turismo racing community, as well, they're family here to GT45 Gaming. They're basically our sister community here at GT45 Gaming. They are family, and we love working with this group and have no intentions on not working with this group anytime in the near future. We'll be here for years to come with this amazing racing organization. We've got Super here in 5th place. We've got Mike 1972 here in 6th place. We've got Dialfo Racing here in 7th position with Tap there in 8th place. So some of the drivers are starting to get very close together. We may see some last minute battling happening here from some of our racers on the track. Subi Mark is 28 seconds up the road, and he's in a great spot here now. He's got a couple laps to go. It's a very difficult racetrack. He's been working hard all race long. Those guys have not really let up on the pressure. They've kind of kept that gap to within striking distance, but the pit stop strategy here has gotten him 28-second gap, and now he can just dial that race car back a little bit and just bring this thing home. It's Doug Burrow here in second place, and he's in a decent spot here. He's got 11-second gap to Petrolhead in third place and behind right now. And very interesting, as Petrol decided to double stint the tire here. So he just went in for fuel and decided not to take tires. Hairraiser took tires, but he's got that 3-second penalty there as well, so that's gonna definitely cost him about 5 seconds in behind Petrolhead, because again, that penalty serving zone is right at the start of Hasselbeck Straight there, and the very last long straightaway of the racetrack there, and that is going to kill all that momentum from the racers working to get the best exit out of that corner and get as much momentum up into the straight as they can. So that means they're going to have to wind the car down, wait for the penalty to serve, and then get the car back up to race pace. It's going to cost so much time there for Hairraiser. Tap here, 3 seconds in behind Diaful Racing in 7th place right now. Diaful's the second in behind Mike 1972, and they got about 7.5 seconds to Supra there. So definitely some stuff starting to brew here on the racetrack. As we head through the mini carousel here for the 13th time, it is Subi Mark here, and he's just got a couple of corners to navigate here before he's on that super long straight run into the final racing sector here, and he is off to the races there, 29 seconds up ahead of second place driver Doug Burrow. And this gap was only about 4 or 5 seconds, but second, third, fourth place all making a pit stop here very late in the race. Ooh, and a mistake made in the carousel right there, and Doug Burrow got so fortunate right there to pull out of that without incident there. He got absolutely launched out of the carousel there, just a little too cooking around the inside part of that carousel there, and it absolutely chewed him up and spit him out right there, and he got very, very lucky that mini carousel did not throw him off the racetrack there. Full air time right there, all 4 tires off the ground for a moment. Scary moment there for Doug Burrow, but he keeps it together. Petrolhead here, he's got 11.7 seconds in behind second place Doug Burrow. He could just see him up at the end of that straight here, but now his concern is going to be Hairraiser. So Hairraiser's just finished serving that penalty, and we're just seeing him now start to get back up to speed. So he lost 5.5 seconds to Petrolhead right there in that 3-second pit lane penalty. So we weren't too far off at what the time loss was going to be there, and Supra closed up a ton of time there on Hairraiser. He's got Mike 1972, Diaful Racing, and Tap all in tow here as well. So with 2 to go now, as Subi Mark comes around turn number 1 here, it is getting spicy here in the mid-pack for sure. There could potentially be battles here before the race is over. We got Doug Burrow. He's in an alright spot here in second place, just needs to keep it on track at this point. Rad's Petrolhead here, he's the one that needs to be concerned now. Hairraiser was right there, had to serve that penalty, so now he's back tracking, but he's still got 2 laps to close 6.8 seconds, and on 15 miles of racetrack, that is not impossible. Mike 1972 moving up into 5th place with the pit stop from Supra there as well. So Diaful is now going to jump up into 6th, and Tap is going to move up into 7th. So Supra is going to come out what looks to be ahead of TDC Gaming here in 8th position. But that may close those two up, and there may be a battle there between those two for position here as well once that pit stop is sorted out. So we've seen 5 drivers come in for a 3rd stop here today, and it looks like the remaining of the field is on that 2-stop strategy. So Subi Mark 28.5 seconds down the road, and you can tell in the attitude of his car that he has changed up how he's pushing around the racetrack. Now he realizes that he is in a very good position here right now on the racetrack. And with that being said, he's just kind of bringing it home here at this point. So it is Petrolhead here in 3rd place with Hairraiser trying to track in, but the gap is not coming down at all here. It's staying pretty consistent at 6.8 seconds. And at some point, he's got to start trying to push that car a little extra to try and close that gap if he feels like he can get that final podium position. But right now, it is 6 seconds in behind Petrolhead. Mike is trying to keep Diaful Racing off here as well, so 1.8 seconds is that gap between these two. They're the 2 closest cars on the racetrack right now, and Tap is only 3.5 seconds in behind them as well. So let's go back to 8th place and just check the gap between those two there, see how close it is. Really Big mistake there from Subi Mark there. As you can see, a big wiggle coming from that car there as he came around the corner, but again, he keeps it moving in the right direction. Doug Burrow here is continuing to open the gap up on Team Rad's Petrolhead here right now, and that is, of course, a teammate in behind Doug Burrow here. So it's actually 3 Team Rad drivers all in a row here, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place on the racetrack here right now. And Petrolhead here doing a great job in that GTR, and he's the only driver this season in a GTR as well. So we only have 1 GTR, and we only have 1 Audi in the series. Other than that, it is a very heavy-weighted series of Honda NSX and Lexus Group 2 cars, with the exception of TTC Gaming running the 2008 Epson NSX as well. So a little bit of older technology on the racetrack for him, but some different cars. But it's definitely been a heavy NSX Lexus racing season this season. So the GTR to finish on the podium against all these NSXs and Lexus Group 2 cars has got to say a lot for that car, because they just hung in there pretty hard against some very stiff competition here this season, and some very difficult racetracks for the GTR as well. Type R here in 10th place, and he's got Egon literally right there on his doorstep here in 11th place. So Egon looking to grab that final top 10 position here before the end of this race, and very close together here are these two as well. So got lots happening here in the latter part of this racetrack as drivers are trying to close the gaps. Petrolhead has lost about 8/10 of a second on Hair Raiser this time, half a lap around, and is doing a good job at making sure Hair Raiser can't close in close enough to try and get that final podium position. But Hair Raiser has a good run through there, gains 4/10 of a second through there, and he is chipping away here at Petrolhead a little bit now. Mike 1972 in 5th place, and right now his concern is Dialful Racing in behind here in 6th place. He's trying to keep that gap from closing. Instead, he'd like to see it continue to grow like it is right now, 2.1 seconds. Tap 2.2 seconds in behind Dialful Racing here as well, and he is now trying to find a little bit more speed out of his car to try and close that final little bit of time up for a potential last lap battle here as well. And Egon and Type R here we go, nose to tail in 11th and 10th position here. And I thought Egon was going to take a look heading into the corner there, but he just sits in behind Type R here for the time being. Type R again is a good defensive racer, so it's going to be very interesting to see if when Egon attempts to attack here, or if Egon's just going to settle in behind Type R here, see if there's a mistake made this lap, and then worry about it on the final lap. We're not sure what Egon's thinking in behind the wheel of that racing car here right now, but it is a Lexus versus NSX situation here. And a little bit of contact right there under braking, but no harm, no foul, it looks like, from the 2 drivers there. And Egon really had to slam on the anchors there, and still on the back end, Type R here. So Subi Mark coming around here to take the white flag as he heads towards the braking zone for the final sector here at the Nordschleife today. And it has been a long day of racing here for our drivers. You can see we're at about 1 hour and 28 minutes on the clock. So perfect lap count for a 90-minute race here, as we will be about 5 minutes past the clock here today to finish our final lap of the day. So it's going to be Subi Mark to take the white flag here, final lap for our race leader. Doug Burrow is coming up the Hasselbeck straight here right now. Now remember, 30-second gap from the race leader to 2nd place here. You can see 3rd and 4th place just in behind, and I'm going to tell you, Hair Raiser and Petrol are getting very close together here from what I can tell. That gap is potentially under 4 seconds as Doug Burrow's coming through here. And we're just going to sit with our field here as they come through the final sector to take the white flag here. So it's going to be Doug Burrow now on his final lap of the race here as he crosses the start-finish line there as well. It's going to be Team Rad's Petrolhead here in 3rd place, and I was correct there. Hair Raiser is in 2.7 seconds now in behind Petrolhead here as we start the final lap. So potential battle for 3rd place here between Hair Raiser and Petrolhead on this final lap. Let's see what they can do with it. We've got Mike 1972 coming around. It's going to be the final lap for him. He's got 11 seconds to the podium here right now as he comes around to take his white flag of the race here today as well. And no matter where these drivers are on the racetrack today, every single one of these racers deserves a huge round of applause for tackling the Nordschleife for 90 minutes in these Group 2 cars today. And they didn't even get to use the grippy tires. They had to use the Racing Hard and Racing Medium medium tires here today, so I mean, difficulty factor definitely up there for the racers here today. Kudos and props to every individual race car driver on this track today. They all deserve it. Not an easy day at the racetrack here today for our racers. DDC in 9th place. We got Type R still holding Egon off here. Nose to tail for 10th place overall on the track here. We got Egon just sitting in 11th place there right now. We've got Iron Knight in 12th position, and we got Bar 27 right there as well. So it is super mark here. And he's got almost 30 seconds here to Doug Barrow in 2nd place. So Doug Barrow's in a great spot, and there we go. Hair Razor has got the job done on Petrolhead, and it is by a margin here, 2.5 seconds. So that tells me Petrolhead made a mistake here. Hair Razor got the free pass, and now Petrolhead trying to track Hair Razor down and get that position back, and he does have enough track left to do it here still. Mike 1972 here in 5th with Diaful in 6th place. We got Tap here in 7th. We got Supra in 8th position. We got Damcat in 9th place. We got Type R here in 10th position. We've got Egon in 11th place. And it is going to be battle on here now, I think, between him and Type R as we're about nearing the end of their second last lap here. So they still got a full lap to battle here yet. Mike 1972 is starting to track in here on 4th place as well. 6.2 seconds. He's still got about half a lap left here. Quite possible that gap can be made up if there's another mistake made by Petrolhead in 4th place as well. We got Diaful here in 6th position. We got Tap in 7th. We got Supra in 8th place. We got TDC here in 9th. We got Type R in 10th place. We got Egon here in 11th. We got Iron Knight in 12th. And we got Bar 27 here in 13th position. So heading through the carousel here for the final time is Subi Mark there, and you can see he's just dialed it back a little bit here on the track. He's not full race pushing anymore. He is just bringing a championship home at this point now on the racetrack. Doesn't need to make any mistakes here. He got a little bit wide there, and again, just trying to bring it home here in one piece at this point. Doug Barrow's just entering the carousel here now, and he's got 20 seconds over 3rd place driver Hair Razor. Hair Razor's quickly opened up the gap to Petrolhead, and Mike 1972 is kind of the one guy we're looking at here now. He's taken 1.5 seconds out of Petrolhead here since we were just through the field, and about a dozen corners there, so he is chipping away. Alright, so Subi Mark here is whereabouts on the track. We still got about 2 minutes of racing left here from him. Got Doug there in 2nd. We've got Hair Razor in 3rd. He is purple here as he comes around this lap as well. So 6:06.4 is still standing for Petrolhead. He took that about 30 or 40 minutes ago, that fast lap from Subi Mark. So let's see if Hair Razor can bring that home here before the end of the race there as well. We got Petrolhead here in 4th place. Mike is closing quickly, 3.433 seconds here, and we may see a battle between Mike and Petrol here before this race is over yet too as well. So let's just kind of keeping our eye on the track radar. We're just keeping our eye on these top 6 drivers here right now. One mistake, one spin is going to change the way that this race finishes for some of these drivers. So very, very tense moments here now as we're on the final lap of the race. Definitely within the top 6 anyway. Egon has made his way around Type R here as well, up into 10th place here, and it looks like just recently there as well. So I forgot we had a battle brewing back there. But it is Subi Mark here, and he's just got a few corners remaining here to bring home his final race win of the season here, and definitely make sure that he brings that championship title home. And one last corner here for Subi Mark, and it is going to be our GR2 champion, Ten Tenths Simracing coming across in first place here today at the Nordschleiffe. Congratulations to him. Doug Burrow, with a hard-fought season here, is going to fall just a little bit short of that 5th championship GTRC title here this set of seasons, but next season is a whole new set of seasons. So it's going to be Doug Burrow to bring it home here in a 2nd position for himself here today, and a good points grab here in the finale to try and secure his podium finish on the season. Hairraiser started here in 3rd place, dropped all the way to the back of the pack very early on, and here we are 90 minutes later, sitting in 3rd place overall here today. So congratulations to Hairraiser, and he's going to find himself on the final podium step here today. It's going to be Team Rat's Petrolhead. He's going to bring it home here in 4th place, and just going to bring it home in one piece. Got Dialful Racing here in 5th place, and boy did Mike 1972 ever make a charge there in 6th place. We got Tap here in 7th position. Supra's closing in right there as well as we're into the final couple of corners here, but it is going to be Tap to hold down for P7 here today, and Supra right behind there in 8th place. Congratulations to both of those drivers. TDC Gaming had tough racing here today. You can see the bodywork's a little beat up on this NSX here, but he will be our next driver to complete our race here today. And I'm not sure how much longer that the timer is going to allow for the drivers to keep going, but we will stay on each driver until it tells us that we can. So we're through the mini carousel here right now, and we're going to have about 8 corners remaining here for TDC here as well. Just going to check, make sure we're not missing the battle back there, see if Type R closed back up, but he's just a couple seconds in behind Egon there for the time being. He's going to hit 180 miles an hour heading into the uphill part of Hasselbeck here. Coming back down the hill, and he might just hit 81, so 181 miles per hour here. These drivers are coming through into the final sector here of this racing track, give or take, so roughly right around that 300 kilometer an hour mark that these cars are coming up that straightaway in, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely in crazy speeds, as he's going to bring it home here in 9th place today for him, and he's actually going to run out of fuel right before the start-finish line, and he's going to coast it home. So here we go, battle for 10th place here. Type R got a good run, and oh my, Egon is just going to finish ahead of Type R there, so it's going to be 10th place for Egon, and it will be 11th place there for Type R, and we'll have to go check the remainder of the results here to see where else everybody finished. So it is going to be Subi Mark with Doug Burrow in 2nd, Hairraiser in 3rd, Petrolhead in 4th, Dialful Racing in 5th, Mike 1972 in 6th, Tap in 7th, and Supra in 8th place. It's going to be TDC Gaming in 9th place. It's going to be Egon in 10th position. It's going to be Type R in 11th. It's going to be Iron Knight in 12th place, and Bar 27 finishing up the field here today in 13th. Tough racing there for Bar 27, but good racing overall by the field. So let's go do some interviews. Just dinging the mic, my bad, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize for that. And let's go get our interviews up. Just gotta get our Discord server opened up here, so just bear with. That was a very, very spicy race, and again, I do apologize for the late start up today, ladies and gentlemen. We were about 25 minutes late here today, and that's on me. I was out running errands this morning and just lost track of time a little bit, and got caught up in a little bit of traffic and all that great stuff. It's summertime, it's tourist season where I live, so it gets very tough to get around the city sometimes. In a timely manner, anyways. Alright, so let's head to the box here and go see who we got to talk to here. Alright, we got Doug and Hair Razor up in the booth here, so we'll just give it another moment here. Congrats, Mark. Great season of racing. That being said, hashtag Team Rads are all a bunch of all-stars. Team Owner coming in from Team Rad. They're cheering on his racers. They had a great race here today. Team Rad second, third, and fourth. Definitely pumped over here. Facts, my guy. Facts. All right. So some good racing here from our group. Let's go chat with our racers, shall we? Let's get that on. We hit that button. Alright, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. My mic is turned on. Make sure my mic is on. We are good to go. Alright, so 90 minutes at the Nordschleife here today. Absolutely huge race to end the season off with here in the Group 2 series. It has been a spectacular series from start to finish here for 9 weeks of racing. And it's all over with the Nordschleife run here today for this set of seasons, but that means we have 2 new GTRC champions here this season, and that means we have one more set of podium finishers to have a chat with. And I gotta tell you what, these guys are probably exhausted and probably ready to get back and get some good food into the system after such a difficult race here. These drivers navigated about 1,500 left and right hand turns here today over 90 minutes. Very difficult racetrack, lots of mistakes made by each individual driver, small to the big scale, and at the end of the day it provided us with our finishing order. And today, lo and behold, it is Hair Razor. Now this driver started off in 3rd place or 4th place on the grid, got a good race start, had an incident very early on in the race, fell to the back of the pack, used a little bit of pit strategy and some good race pace, and finds himself on the 3rd and final podium spot here today in our finale. Congratulations, needed that good run here today, and definitely some good points grab for your overall standing points here today. Talk us through how the race was.
Yes, I had a little bit of a slip up at the start. Yeah, you're right. I started 3rd, and I was pushing it to try and catch Petrol and Mark, and I just overcooked it on a corner, and it went off. And of course I have to let the pack go because they're so close together within the first few bends, obviously, and it's such a demanding circuit, every corner, and yeah, I had to push and get back up as best I could, and obviously some of the drivers had some issues as well, but yeah, it was really hard work. I'm absolutely exhausted after all that, to be honest. Hello?
Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so great answer there by Hair Razor. Now, pit stop strategies were varying from some of the pack to you guys as well. Now, yourself, Doug, Petrol, Supra, and a couple of the drivers decided to go with the 3-stop strategy, where our race winner went with the 1-stop strategy here today. So, if you guys were on a 2-stop strategy, do you think that potentially the race could have been a little bit different at the end of the checkered flag here today?
Maybe, with his pushing as well. I mean, Mark did a phenomenal job. Yes, he was fuel saving, but yeah, he did a great job to get so far ahead of us all. And Doug did as well, obviously, on his strategy. Well done to Doug. And obviously with Mike tied with me in points at the moment. Well, he was, and he did really well. I think he was pushing the best he could because obviously we were tied. So it was between me and Mike, and you know, what can I say? But well done to him. But yeah, it's tiring.
Absolutely, and tough racing conditions here today as well. So, congratulations on a hard-fought race. You know, you said that you wanted to try and finish us off the season strong and finish on the podium here. So you've definitely done that. and like you said, tied for what was it, fourth overall, I believe, with Mike 1972 finishing ahead of him here. Should of course give you that position overall, but great racing season, great championship here, and as one of the administration staff and the developers of the series here, overall happy with how everything went this season.
Yes, all the drivers have done exceptionally well. And of course yourself, Tim, for hosting throughout the season. We really appreciate it as a team. And obviously, great to Team Rad as well for being on the podium, as well with Doug as well. And yeah, it's been really great. It's been a good season, and I'm looking forward to the next season. And hopefully, I come back a little bit stronger, and get on that podium a little bit more, and hopefully knock Mark off it a little bit.
Absolutely, and tough racing. The competition's really starting to pick up here in the GTRC Gran Turismo racing community. This Group 2 series brought in a tough field of racers here, and we've seen the TT Cup series bring in some really tough competition as well. So with that being said, that means our next upcoming championship seasons, which will be announced in a few weeks time, ladies and gentlemen, once we have everything sorted out and finalized, is going to be potentially one of the toughest seasons ever put forth here by the Gran Turismo racing community. But this Group 2 series, in my personal opinion as a broadcaster, has been absolutely top level all season long. Huge grids, great moments, beautiful racing, and a hard finale here from the Nordschleife today for this group. But congratulations, hard fought, and final remarks on your race here today, this season, and shout outs to the viewers watching at home.
Yes, just thank you for everybody for tuning in and taking the time to watch the races that the drivers put on, and the administration staff and the commentator. Just very well done, and thanks to my wife for being in there as well. Just thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Look forward to it next year, or next season, should I say.
Abs-
Cheers. Thank you.
Absolutely, and congratulations on a great season. I know that the boss man from Team Rad is pretty pleased to see a second, third, fourth place finish from the Team Rad drivers here today, and a couple of you guys going to be sitting on that overall podium here as well at the end of the season. So, congratulations on a very well, hard fought season for yourself. A season of redemption, I like to call this, for Hair Razor, and I think that he finished us off quite well here at the Nordschleife on one of the most difficult racetracks in the world. So, congratulations to you, and we'll let you get back to that Team Rad clubhouse and go celebrate with the great team in behind the scenes.
Cheers, young man. You're a star. Thank you very much.
There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Team Rad's Hair Razor, our third place overall finisher here tonight in our finale, and potentially our third place overall finisher here in the standings. If not fourth, we'll have to wait for the official standings to all settle out, but we'll get that post out in the YouTube GTRC channels once we have all of that finalized. So let's talk to Doug Burrow. He was our second place finisher here today, and it was a little bit of an up and down race for him, as he was battling in second and third, fourth and fifth, back in second and third for a while, a couple of pit stop strategies, a couple of mistakes, and he was all over the map. But at the end of the day, coming home with a strong second place finish, and he needed that good second place finish here to try and, of course, leapfrog over Petrolhead in the standings and a couple other drivers, I believe. But strong performance here today, and you were also a driver that had to make the 3 stops as opposed to the 2 stops here as well. And I think I'm going to start with that question. If you were able to pull off a 2-stop strategy with what we were seeing, the gap was only about 6 seconds from the top 4 drivers for a large part of the race here. Do you think that this race maybe could have come down to a last lap battle from potentially first through fourth place?
I don't know. I seem to, when I do the fuel save, especially if I'm using the fuel map like Mark was, I seem to lose a lot more time, and because of my nerve damage on my left side, I can't keep flicking through all the choices as easily because it's just I haven't got the control. But no, I mean, it was only a couple of days ago Mark was saying, "Oh, the Honda won't make a 2-stop, but you're going to a 3-stop. You know, it's going to be tough to get there." And the man pulled a 2-stop out, so fair play on that one. I was getting round with, and I wasn't running out each gear. I was coming in with 0.4 each time I came in. So I don't know, maybe I could have pushed a little bit harder and it would have been a little bit closer. There's a couple of times where coming up to the final sector, I was running purple by 1 point something seconds and I'd make a mistake. So I had the opportunity to get at least another point out of it. But I mean, I missed 2 races this season. Discoed out of one, and was far too sick to race another. And that's cost me a finish on the podium. Don't think I'll be anywhere near Mark at the top. He had a fantastic season. But yeah, I mean, and also bringing up something Razor said, he had his wife there doing it for him. That's cheating, isn't it? So that he's supposed to race each race. No, it was a good race. I don't think I'd have been able to keep up with Mark. I had a couple of moments where a couple of the crashes where it came off, I wasn't turning and it turned right. And I believe Mike told me about a couple of times where he was having steering glitches, and a couple of boys have mentioned steering glitches where it just wasn't doing what it was meant to, in places where it shouldn't have gone, So I'm putting 2 of mine down to that, but the rest was probably me.
And I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, 90 minutes around the Nordschleife is kind of, it's more of a battle of the racer versus the track, more so than it is racer versus racer. Now, we've seen some great battle and some great passing and some stuff around the racetrack throughout the 90 minutes as well, but obviously not like we would see on a normal racetrack, a normal 4 or 5 mile racetrack where it's elbows out and everybody is fighting hard for position. This one's a much more calculated race. It's a very technical racetrack, and not as easy as it looks to pass around here, due to the simple fact is you have no runoff. It's a lot of grass and a lot of wall all around the racetrack. So it's risk versus reward here. And we also seen drivers struggling a little bit with the curbing here. Obviously, very high curbs here at the Nordschleife in certain parts of the racetrack. And we definitely seen curbs catch out a few of the drivers here today. So, how did you prepare yourself, I guess, to come into our 15-lap event here today? And I mean, overall, pretty satisfied with how it all shaped out at the end?
Happy with how it shaped out at the end. Prepared myself. I did 7 laps with petrol on Monday, I think it was. But I've just been too sick to do anything this week really to prepare. The track I know inside out, because back in sport, where the track hasn't changed, the corners haven't changed, the speeds you take them haven't changed. It's just the way the cars react has ever so slightly changed. But back on sport, we had a friend that would only race here, and it was always in Group 2s. You get one night a month where it'd be, oh, this is a man's car. You'd go in a different car for one night, and then you'd be back in it, racing around this circuit with these cars. Obviously, they're handled slightly differently back then, but so the circuit I know, the gears and that lot, I need to be going through the corners. I know I just can't react very well to them anymore. So yeah, no, the preparation is. I really didn't get much in this week. I wish I could have done. Maybe worked on a 2-stop strategy, which probably would have been better because I've wasted 30 odd, 40 odd seconds in a pit stop. And that brings that time at the front very, very close. Obviously, my laps would have been potentially ever so slightly slower, but it would have brought the front very, very close. I mean, everybody made mistakes. I got into the lead at one point and then fell off straight away afterwards, so that was fun. But yeah, no, it was a good race and enjoyable. I mean, with all these races, we should all be prepping all week long. You get some of the best races when everybody's practiced all week. But this was always going to be more of a time trial track than a race track. There would have been some moments. It's quite narrow for a Group 2 car as well. So even on what are the standard overtaking areas, it's still quite narrow. You still got to be careful. But yeah, no, good fun, good track. I'm not sure it was quite. I mean, it made it probably, hopefully, made a good one to watch with all the crashing. And I don't know if YouTube Corner got any, but yeah, good track, good fun.
YouTube corner is always a great spot to see cars make those mistakes. Obviously, coming around that downhill undulating corner and then coming into an uphill blind corner that typically does make for some interesting moments at YouTube corner. But a lot of it was just guys getting the curbing a little bit wrong, or just getting the gearing a little bit wrong, and just catching track edges. And of course, the grass is like quicksand here at the Nordschleife. It just kind of pulls you in towards the wall, and Well, in real life, that's usually race over for the drivers, but here in the sim world, obviously the damage goes away and the racers get to continue on racing. So, I mean, and the same question goes to you. You know, you're another one of the masterminds behind the series, the combinations, and how everything kind of shakes out at a championship. Are overall pretty satisfied with how the 2 seasons have gone here this past season?
Yeah, satisfied with the 2 seasons. It's good to have the new drivers come in that have come in and stayed. It was a shame Piggy couldn't stay for the Group Twos, but yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next couple. I think we've got what we're doing for the Group Threes marked out, but we haven't got a start date yet. I don't think. But the Group Twos, there's a fair few options put forward that should make a good next mini season. I think it's going to be sort of a one make thing again. I think the racing format's going to be changing slightly depending on what the admin group decide as a group. I've put forward an idea that I've got a lot of likes from, but obviously I don't know if that's the one that's going to be going forward. But if it is, it'll be fun and it would definitely be interesting. Definitely be interesting. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, and an incredible season. Been a lot of fun, the Group 2 series, and I'm glad that that was a series that we finish off the set of championships with here this season, because it has just been a lot of fun with these Group 2 cars. Lots of great side-by-side action, lots of great battles, and there were plenty of times this season where it was right down to the checkered flag between positions and drag racing right to the start-finish line, and all in all, that just makes for great future success for future championships, because when the drivers are having fun, they want to come back and they want to race some more. So it definitely looked like the racers had some fun out there. I know the viewers were enjoying the combinations out there. We don't see the Group 2s very often, so I think it was a great season. And of course, the TT Cup cars always provide great racing. That's nothing out of the ordinary there. So all in all, I think we had a couple of really great championship seasons here from the Gran Turismo racing community. And just want to say thank you to the development team and the staff behind the scenes that keeps all these things running, because we don't have anything to broadcast if there ain't championships running and scheduled for racers to come and race for the viewers. So, you definitely got to give yourselves a lot of credit for everything you guys do. We've been watching the community pick up and get more and more competitive season by season, and it's really providing for great racing on and off the racetrack in each racing round and racing week as well. So, just a shout out to the GTRC staff and everybody behind the scenes that makes this go on, because beauty set of seasons this season from you guys. And with that being said, I guess final remarks on your race today, the championship season, and shout outs to the viewers watching at home.
Well, thank you to all the viewers watching at home. Should there be any, hopefully you've enjoyed the seasons, both from back to back. Thank you to yourself for your commentary as always, and supporting us, and just being there, helping with the decisions. You're a big part of our team as well. Yeah, congratulations to Mark and Ray. Mark's had to run off to work, so it's he won't be here, but I know he enjoyed it. So I know he's happy with the season results. So fair play to Mark. And yeah, just thanks to everybody involved. Thanks to Team Red for letting me run the colours. And hopefully I've proved my worth to the guys. Yeah, thanks to you again as always. And yeah, good season. Well done, Petrol. Well done, Race, for finishing the top 3. I think even if there's a penalty against Rays, he's finished in 3rd because of the time difference between him and Mike. So Rays, I think, stolen 3rd from Michael. Petrol's in 2nd, and Petrol only needed to show up today, so he put in a sterling effort to coming in 4th because he only needed to score a point to beat Rays. And yeah, so well done to Team Rad Boys for getting there at the top 5 for the 3 drivers. That's good going. And yeah, I think that covers it all. Cheers to GTRC, GT45 Gaming, and everyone supporting us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very well said. And congratulations on a very hard fought season for yourself. Even though, like you said, you missed a couple of races. We had the disconnect in the one race. You still finished off pretty strong here in the season. And, well, the next set of championship seasons are a whole new set of seasons, ladies and gentlemen, where Doug Burrow will try and secure his 5th GTRC championship here.
Yeah, try and get another star.
And in the meantime, though, it will be Ten Tenths Bigham's to put his star on for the mini season, and it will be Ten Tenths to be marked to get his first championship win here at the GTRC in the Group 2 series. So congratulations to both those drivers. And as owner of Ten Tenths Simracing, co-owner of Ten Tenths Simracing, I would just like to say congratulations to both those drivers for their championship performances, and can't wait to see what they're going to bring in our next set of seasons. Can they defend it? Well, we'll have to wait and find out in a few weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen, but congratulations overall to the GTRC for a great racing season. Thank you to the viewers coming in and watching all season long and for that continued support. We do not have this up on the GTRC YouTube channel. For some reason, it did not connect, so we will upload that for everybody here today, so it will be available either later this evening or tomorrow morning for our GTRC viewers. We apologize. It just happens. Sometimes it happens, but we'll get that uploaded for everybody, and really appreciate the great turnouts all season long here from our Audi TT Cups and our Group 2 series here. So on behalf of GT45 Gaming, we'd like to thank the Gran Turismo racing community, its racers, its stewarding staff, and all the developers in behind the scene that make these things happen. We appreciate it. The content was great. The races were beautiful, and I think that these were some of the best seasons we've ever seen from the GTRC so far in our lengthy career here now with this great community. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all. That means we're not going to have any Saturday races for at least a couple of weeks' time. We'll keep everybody posted when the new registrations drop, and in the meantime, we'll fill it in with some exciting racing content for everybody moving forward. But thank you on behalf of GT45 Gaming and the GTRC community for being here. Thank you for the likes and shares all season long, and we're going to send you out with some rocking.
Can I just say, bud?
Yes.
I've stayed just in case. During the off season, I think we're going to do something with go-karts for a giggle, and we'll be doing like a few sprint nights for fun, and then potentially hosting any quali nights that we need to host for any new drivers. I think we're going to base if we have a pro and pro-am split, base it off of the previous Group 3 seasons. So Mark will be up into pro. Trone, who's worked really hard, will finally get up into pro. I think we're discussing who might be dropping down to am. So yeah, just so you know, there will be stuff. We'll be doing stuff on Saturday nights. Whether we get any stream content, anything that's worth streaming content, then we may not. But we're going to be hosting stuff for a giggle to get people involved, to keep stuff going on, to keep try and keep people interested.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Heard it first right from the administration team from the GTRC. Fun nights coming in between the next set of championship seasons as well here from the GTRC. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely get involved in the community. Head over to the Discord server. If you don't have an invite, hit us up in the chats on the streams, and we will get you guys in the right direction, in the right spot. So you definitely don't miss those great announcements, and we appreciate you, my guy. Thank you for that heads up. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to send you out with some tunes one last time here from the GR2 series, and we'll be back when we got new championship seasons here from the GTRC. We appreciate y'all. Doug and the admin stuff from the GTRC, appreciate y'all. It's been a great set of seasons. Can't wait to see what you guys are going to bring in next.
Thank you, bud.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That means it's over on Saturdays for a little bit. That means we're not going to have the GTRC races here for 2 or 3 weeks. Now, like they said, they will be running the offshoot stuff, the fun events, fun nights, maybe some one-off events and stuff throughout the Saturdays. But chances are we will not see that on the big screen, as I typically like to take the time off in between championship seasons to do other things, like develop my own championship seasons for my own page, stuff like that. So we will be taking a little break in the off season as well with the racers until the next championship season. So we appreciate everybody, And congratulations to Subimark, Petrolhead, and Hairraiser for the top 3 finish overall in the season. Unofficially, we'll have to wait for the official results to come in. So what's going to happen now? Drivers have 24 hours for instant reporting. The stewards will then assess those instant reports, file the report, hand out any penalties if necessary, and then the results will be finalized from there. Once we got those finalized results, we'll get that out on all of the social media pages for everybody to see, so we can see where everybody shook up at the end of both of our championship seasons. We appreciate all the support, the likes, the shares, the comments, and just coming in and hanging out with us, watching the content. That's what it's all about. That's why we do it. And it's for you guys and gals at home, the race fans, that the drivers continue to try to put on the best show they can, put in all the work, and just try to get the best racing action on the track every weekend from the Gran Turismo racing community here for all the viewers at home. We appreciate y'all. And again, we've got something where the internet company is coming in to fix our internet connectivity issues we've been having since we moved the stream setup here today. So starting next week, we will be back to regular programmed content here at GT45 Gaming. I know it has been a long time coming, almost 2 years now since we've had regular live streams outside of the broadcasts. But we're finally able and ready to get back into the swing of things here and get that content out to everybody. So we appreciate y'all. You love the content, don't forget to like and share and subscribe and follow to the pages. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers for now, everybody.